There is a ferryman at the edge of the village who does not accept coins. He has been crossing the same river for 60 years, and in all that time, no one has paid him with money. He collects something else, something that cannot be counted, something that, once given, changes the giver forever. Tonight, a woman came to his dock with a story she had never told anyone, and the ferryman, for the first time in 40 years, refused to take it. His name is not spoken. The village calls him simply the Ferryman, as if there is only one, as if the river would not exist without him. He was young once, a soldier. He crossed a different river then, a river between countries, between before and after. He saw things that made him stop speaking for 3 years. When he started again, his voice had changed. It sounded like water, like something that had been somewhere else and come back different. He came to this village because it had a river no one crossed. The bridge had fallen 40 years before. The village had simply accepted the division. North Bank, South Bank, 2 villages that happened to share a name. The ferryman rebuilt the boat himself, launched it on a morning when the fog was so thick he could not see the other side. He did not know if there was another side. He rowed anyway, and when he reached the far bank, when he proved that the division was not permanent, he sat down and waited. He has been waiting ever since. I will tell you about the woman who came tonight, but first you need to understand how the fair works, because the ferryman does not accept any story. He accepts only the true one, the one you have never told, the one that wakes you at 3 a.m., the one you have rehearsed for years but never performed. He knows when you are giving him performance. He knows when you are giving him confession, and he does not row until he receives the real one. The woman tonight, she brought a story that made the lantern flicker, and the ferryman refused it. I will tell you why, but not yet. First, the rules. A farmer came once, paid with a story about his crops. The ferryman did not move. The farmer told another about his wife. Still, the boat did not leave the dock. The farmer sat in silence for an hour. Then he told the true one about the night he stood in his barn with a rope in his hands, about the cow that wandered in and looked at him, about how he put the rope down and never picked it up again. The ferryman rowed. The crossing took 12 minutes. The farmer got out on the other side. He never told that story again. He did not need to. The river had it now. A child came, 9 years old, alone. The ferryman does not ask age. He asks only for the story. The child told him about a dream, a house made of glass, a mother who lived in the highest room, a father who could not climb stairs. The child woke from this dream every night for a year. The ferryman listened. He did not say the dream was not real. He did not say it was only a dream. He rowed. The child crossed. The dream stayed in the boat. The child, now grown, now old, says she has never had that dream since. She does not know where it went. The ferryman knows. It is in the water, moving with the current, telling itself to the fish, to the stones, to the other stories that sink and do not drown. The ferryman has collected thousands of stories. He does not write them down. He does not need to. The river remembers. And on certain nights when the fog is thick enough to hold sound, the river gives them back. Not whole, fragmented, mixed. A farmer's rope, and a child's glass house, and a soldier's river, and a mother's last words, all speaking at once. The ferryman listens. He has learned to separate them, to hear each voice in the chorus. He says the river is the only library that never lies, because water cannot choose what it holds. It holds everything, the true and the performed, the confessed and the invented, all mixed, all moving, all becoming something else. He told me once I found his dock, I sat. He did not ask me to leave. He told me that the river has a sound at 3 a.m. that no other hour produces. He called it the remembering. He said it is the sound of every story ever told on his boat, all speaking their first sentences simultaneously. Not the whole story, just the beginning, the moment before the truth emerges, the hesitation, the held breath. He said that sound, that single chord of thousands of first words, is the most honest sound in the world, because it is the sound of people about to become real, about to stop performing, about to pay the real fare. She was 34. He knew this because she told him, not as part of the story, as part of the negotiation, as if age mattered, as if the river charged more for certain years. She unwrapped the cloth. Inside, a letter, sealed, never sent. She said the story was inside. She said she could not speak it. She asked if the letter could be the fare. The ferryman looked at the letter. He did not touch it. He said, "The fare must be spoken. The river does not read." She spoke then, for 40 minutes, the longest fare the ferryman has ever collected. She told him about a man she loved, not her husband, the man before, the man she did not marry because she was afraid. She told him about the morning she watched him leave on a train, the platform, the wave, the feeling that she had already died and was watching her own ghost. She told him about the years after, the marriage that was good but not that, the children who were loved but not conceived in that feeling, the life that was full but not filled. She told him about finding the man's obituary last spring, the heart attack, the other wife, the children who were conceived in that feeling, the life that was filled. And then at the end of the 40 minutes, she said something that made the lantern flicker. She said, "I am glad he died. I am glad I did not have to watch him become old with someone else. I am glad his children will never know what I know. I am glad the train left. I am glad I was afraid. Because if I had not been afraid, I would not have this story. And this story is the only thing that makes me real." The ferryman stood. He looked at the woman. He looked at the letter. He said, "I cannot take this fare." She asked why. He said, "Because you are still performing. The real story is not that you loved him. The real story is not that you were afraid. The real story is that you are still standing on that platform, still watching the train, still waving, still dying. And until you step off the platform, until you walk home, make tea, live the life that happened, the story is not yours to give. It is still happening. And the river does not accept unfinished things." She has come back 3 times since. Each time, she tells a different story. Each time, the ferryman listens. Each time, he does not row. He says, she is getting closer. That last month, she told a story about making tea, about the particular sound of her kettle, about how her husband knows exactly how she takes it. She did not mention the train. The ferryman said, "Closer, but not yet." The kettle is still a metaphor. When you can tell me about the kettle without the train underneath it, I will row. We believe that our stories belong to us, that we own our narratives, that we can package them, perform them, sell them. But the ferryman's river suggests something older, that stories are not possessions, they are exchanges. That a story told to avoid feeling is not a story, it is a wall. That a story told to become real, to pay a fare, to cross a division, to become something else, that story has weight. That story sinks. That story becomes part of the current. That story tells itself to fish and stones and other stories for as long as the river flows. I asked him. I sat on his dock until morning. I asked him what he does with the stories he cannot take, the ones still happening, the ones still being performed. He said, I wait. The river is patient. I am patient. The platform is not a permanent address. The train does not run forever. Eventually, everyone steps off. Eventually, everyone makes tea. Eventually, the story becomes heavy enough to sink. And when it does, when it is real enough to be given, I will be here. The boat will be here. The lantern will be here. The river has never refused a true story, and I have never refused to row. I think about him when I tell my own stories, when I wonder if I am performing or confessing, when I wonder if the words I speak are fair or fog. I think, the river is listening, the river knows, and the only way across is to become real enough to sink. There are other stories, not about rivers, but about the same crossing, the same waiting, the same becoming real. If you have ever stood on a platform and wondered if the train was the only way, there are other stories.